Hello, sophomores. This is your friendly neighborhood counselor, Mr. Brysh, to talk to you about exploring your future, specifically about college costs today. Really what we want to do, this is paired with College Costs 10. If you're watching this video, that means you've clicked on College Costs 10 and you're watching the video now. So, what you're going to need to do is watch the video, learn a lot, then go to your Naviance account, sign into College Costs 10, find College Cost 10 under tasks assigned to me, and do the survey. So in order to do the survey, you have to know some things. So let's make sure everybody's on the same page with college costs. So you want to go to college? I get this question all the time. How will I pay for a college education? It's expensive. Some places are more expensive than others. For instance, a place like Metro State College is about half the cost of a place like the University of Colorado at Boulder. Community College of Aurora is even cheaper still. But there's a wide range of costs. And, by cheap, it's still not exactly, you're not going to find it in the change in your couch cushions, you know what I mean? Most people are going to go to college using financial aid. And there are many different types of financial aid that we're going to talk about in a second, but in general, financial aid is when the university that you decide to attend, say that I'm going to the University of Northern Colorado in Greeley, go Bears! The university will contact you after you've been accepted, because you'll be accepted, and they will say you are eligible for this scholarship and this grant and this scholarship and these student loans. And then you'll say, ooh, sweet, okay. Well, I'll take this and this and this. And then that will pay for your college. And there are 4 different types of financial aid available. I know you know about scholarships, but there's also grants, there's also student loans, and there's also work-study programs. So let's start with scholarships, since it's at the top here. Scholarships are given to students and can be used for tuition. There are different types of college costs. Tuition is the cost of the actual classes. There's also room and board, and food and meals. There's also books and fees and stuff to use most colleges have a nice student area where you can go work out, and there's a gym there, and there's racquetball courts, and there's all sorts of cool stuff there, right? So the pool, and so you have to kind of pay a small fee for that. But for scholarships, most of it is used for tuition, for just the classes themselves, which will be about half of your bill. So it's like, paying for half of your bill. They come from public and private sources, some from very rich individuals that have money to donate to scholarships, like the Gates Foundation. Bill Gates got a gajillion dollars, right? So he gives back money every year to Gates Millennium Scholars and stuff like that. There's also public institutions. The federal government gives away scholarships for fields that it needs people in. So if you're going into a field that a lot of people are retiring, or it's kind of new and interesting, then there might be scholarships out there just for going into that field. How cool is that? Some scholarships are based on need, financial need. So, your parents only make a certain amount of money, and you as a student don't make much of anything because you just have, maybe a job at Target or a job at the mall or something like that, and so you don't have a lot of money. So they will help you with scholarships based on need. Some of them, though, have merit or skill bases, right? You've all heard of scholarships for athletics, I'm sure, right? So there's football scholarships and soccer scholarships and swimming scholarships and stuff like that. But there are also scholarships for serving your community. There's also scholarships that are for being in certain clubs in school. There are scholarships that are available for all kinds of different things. We'll talk more specifically about that in a little bit. Another type of financial aid, though, is grants. A grant is money that's given to you that you don't have to pay back, like a scholarship. I should have put that in here too. Scholarships also don't need to be paid back. Grants, though, mostly are based off of need, and some of them come from federal or state programs, like the one federal program is called the Pell Grant. Sometimes they come from charities. The United Way has a grant, and different places, Habitat for Humanities, places like that. And they don't have to be repaid. They give you money for going to school. It's almost always, though, based off of your need, your financial need. Where scholarships, they're not always based off of need. Some of them are based off of, the type of program you're going into, or skills that you have, or things you've done in your high school life, like community service projects and stuff. Then there are student loans. I get the most questions about student loans. Because college can be kind of expensive, like we talked about before, there's lots of students that come to me and like, I don't want to pay with loans, and because I don't want to be in a huge amount of debt. And that's a totally legitimate idea. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't be worried about that. But I want you to also think about how it's an investment in you. No one's ever going to be able to take away your college degree, or your master's degree, or your PhD, or your MD, or your lawyer's license. You know what I'm saying? Those things are tickets for you to get a great paying job. If it takes some loans to get there, in my view, that's a good investment. Now, you could go to like a private college and pay a cajillion dollars, right? That may not be the best investment as going to Metro or to UNC or to Community College of Aurora, even, that are less, that cost less and have the same education. Each school specializes in certain things, so you got to pick the right fit for you at the right cost for you. Almost all the teachers including me, paid for their college through loans exclusively. Not a lot of us got scholarships. Some of us did, but most scholarships, they're not a bajillion dollars. They don't pay for all of your college. Most scholarships pay for a chunk of it, right? So you still have to do other things like grants or loans or whatever, or work study. And so most of your teachers that you've met have paid for their college through loans. And we're teachers, right? You know that we don't get paid a ton of money, but we've paid back our loans. I paid back my loans. That's why I'm in my master's program. I paid back my undergrad, and I was like, yeah, what should I do now? I'm going to reinvest in my education again, because I'm going to get paid more when I get my master's, right? It's all about the money. Not always, but it helps. So if you're thinking about that, I just want you to think about it's right to worry about how much money it's going to cost. That's legit. But also understand that it's investing in you. Credit card debt is bad debt. Being in debt on cars is bad debt. But investing in yourself and student loan debt is not necessarily bad debt, right? It's usually good debt because you're going to make more money, and I'm going to show you that kind of in a little bit. Then there's work study, right? Work study programs allow you to work for the university, and the university then will pay usually half of your bill. So you work in the library, you work in one of the places where students can go eat. You can work at the student union, you can work at the where else could you work as a work study? Oh, as a resident assistant, which means that you're in charge of a floor in a dorm room, or in a dorm floor, right? You have a room in the dorm, and you're in charge of the floor to make sure everybody's getting along okay, to make sure that nobody gets hurt, to make sure that rules are being followed, make sure everybody feels like they're part of the community, right? So work study allows you to get half of your bill paid by working for the university. It's pretty nice. Usually they pay for your room and board part, not your tuition, but sometimes they do too. Those are the 4 different types of financial aid. Let's talk specifically about scholarships. You can go looking for scholarships. You probably will your senior year in the springtime. So starting in January, you'll be looking for scholarships from January until you start school in August, right? One way to do that that makes it kind of easy is FastWeb. You go to FastWeb, you sign up for an account, and they send you scholarships, so you don't have to go looking for them, which is really nice. If, however, you want to go look for them, in Naviance, under the Colleges tab, you look under Scholarship List, and you'll find a list of a whole bunch of scholarships. But you have to use Naviance to do that. You can also go Google things if you know of a scholarship. But most of the scholarships are based off of academic performance, so they have like a GPA requirement, a 2.5 or whatever the case is, and a lot of them have community service components. So they ask, what you've done to serve your community. So if you're in student leadership, that's easy. If you're not in student leadership, then you might want to think about, as a sophomore, what I can do to set myself up for scholarships when I'm a senior, right? You want to do some community service. You want to volunteer your time, right? You want to help people out. There are scholarships for a whole number of things, right? There's the duct tape prom outfit scholarship. So every year people make a prom outfit out of duct tape. They take pictures of it, they write a little bit, and they send it in for this scholarship. And then the scholarship people look at all the entries, and they look at all the prom outfits, and they're like, oh, this one looks really good. And then they publish them in this. They have a duct tape prom picture, a guy and a girl every year. So ladies, you can make your prom dress out of it. And fellas, you can make your prom suit out of duct tape and get a scholarship for it. So they have all kinds of strange scholarships like that, that are creative and interesting. There's also a scholarship for women for being tall. So, you have to be over 5'5", I think, 5'6", something like that. But if you're over 5'6", you can apply for the scholarship. I had a student a couple years ago who won that one. She was 5'8", I want to say, volleyball player, and so she just got it for being tall. Big companies, Burger King, Coke, KFC, Dell, Best Buy, they all have scholarships as well. Most of those are based off of some kind of essay, so you had to write an essay and then they pick the best essay. But big name companies always have scholarships. So if you work for one of those companies, you have a better chance of winning. So think about that. Some scholarships only require an essay. If they do, then that means that usually they're open to anybody. So anybody who writes the essay could have a chance of winning. So if that's the case and you want to enter one with an essay, what you do is you write the essay. You look at the prompt, you write the essay, you bring it to me, and we work on it a little bit, right? You might bring it to Ms. Scritchfield, Mr. Trainer, any one of your other teachers, and say, hey, help me out on this section. Give me your feedback. Tell me what you think, and we'll work on it. We'll polish it. We'll send it in, and you'll win some money. There are also scholarships for things like art schools and stuff. There was one that we were working on this year where basically you just had to create a particular kind of composition for this art show, and they would give you a full ride to an art school, right? So there's all different kinds of scholarships that don't necessarily require essays. Some of them might require, some art, if it's an art school. Naviance can help with all the listings, and when you look under Scholarship List and you look under Scholarship Match in the Colleges tab, what you'll see is all the qualifications you need to apply. So if there's a GPA requirement, that'll be there. If you have to write an essay, that'll be there. If you have to do something special, that'll be there too. But I want you to think about not ruling yourself out. You want to apply to a bunch of scholarships, as many scholarships as you can. The more scholarships you apply to, the better your chances. And like I said before, most people don't just get one scholarship that pays for everything, right? Most people, if they get a full ride, that's what people call having all of your college costs paid for. Most people with full rides have a number of scholarships that do that. So you want to apply a lot, that's what I'm saying. One of the tasks in your ICAP was to sign up for College in Colorado. And if you sign up for College in Colorado, you can do the College Opportunity Fund, or COF for short. If you do COF, because it's mandatory, if you plan to go to a public school in Colorado, you fill this out, they give you free money. Let me say that again. You fill this out, they give you free money because it's free. It's the best kind of money because it's free, right? It's free. Did I mention it's free? It's free money. So all you got to do is fill it out, and they give you free money. Come on, you have to do it. It's free money for college. So that can also help to pay for, whatever money that you, or whatever cost that you still need to pay for. If you got a scholarship and if you're doing a loan, then this can help with both of those things, right? You get less of a loan. Everybody has to fill out the free application for federal student aid, right? Or the FAFSA. And it's basically a tax form. So what you'll do as a senior is hopefully you'll be applying and you'll be accepted by Christmas time. And then in January, February, March, April, May, you'll be looking for scholarships. One of the things you'll be doing in January or February is filling out the FAFSA. FAFSA. Everybody has to fill this out who's going to college. I had to fill this out doing my master's program. You're going to have to fill it out being an undergraduate student. And you need to do it because you cannot get any financial aid. Well, you can't get any student loans or grants unless you do the FAFSA. And so you want to be available for grants, especially. It's free money, right? You definitely want to do that. But the money does run out. So read this little bullet point down here. The money is first come, first served. So if you're applying for the FAFSA in May, June, you're probably not going to get much because a lot of that money will be gone, given away already. So you want to be first. You want to be in January, February. Now, there are some opportunities to get college credit while you're still in high school. We've talked a lot about Pickens lately because Pickens applications are out there and they're due soon. But Pickens Technical College has all kinds of different programs. You should see the list. Go take a look at the applications that are at Gateway or at Central. You'll see everything from cosmetology to early childhood education to veterinary assistant to dental assistant to medical assistant and having your register, having a license to become a certified nursing assistant. Pretty nice. To what else is in there? There's mobile applications that you can do, for mobile phones. There's welding. There's all kind automotive mechanic stuff. There's all kinds of things at Pickens College. You can take it for free from the high school as a high school student. You have to qualify though. You have to fill in the application. You have to have good attendance. You have to have decent grades. You have to show me that when we send you over there that you're going to do things. You're not going to flake out. You're not going to not go. You're not going to be like, oh, hey, it was too hard for me to get over there. I'm going to drop. No, we don't want that. We want people who are committed to doing the program, to be in there and do well, right? But as long as you're willing to do that, you can get all kinds of great training. Almost everybody who goes to Pickens, who gets trained in Pickens, they are sought after in their field. People go to them, they go to Pickens and say, hey, give me some people who are good at horticulture from the horticulture classes, so that they can help me with building they do the Colorado Garden Home Show all the time, right? So if you're interested in any of the programs at Pickens Tech, I would highly suggest you do it. You get 3 credits, elective credits for doing it, plus you get, whatever the certificates, the college credit is for doing it. So, it counts for some credits for high school, and then, you get a nice certificate out of it. You could also take college classes from the Community College of Aurora. This may save you thousands of dollars. The reason why is because you'll have, technically, if you start as an 11th grader, you could easily have an associate's degree, a 2-year degree done by the time you graduate high school. Just like Pickens, classes count for credit for high school and credit for college. Although, if you take college classes, they count for core credits. So if you take a college English class, that counts for high school English too. You're getting college credit and you're getting rid of one of the buckets you need to fill in your transcript, right? In order to take college classes, though, you need one of 2 things. You need an ACT score, which, since you guys are sophomores, you probably don't have. since you haven't taken the ACT yet. You take it as juniors. So what you'll do probably is take the AccuPlacer test, which is a computerized version of the ACT, although it's much shorter. The people who took it this year to get into college classes, it took them like 20 minutes for the sentence skills part. So, so anybody who does that, it doesn't take too long. And when you take the test, they'll after you're done, they'll give you a list of classes that you could potentially take. Pretty nice. Then there's the Ascent program. So if you've taken some Pickens Tech classes or some classes at CCA, you might be a person who qualifies for Ascent. You have to earn 12 college credits, though. So you have to take some college classes before you graduate. But what we will do then is hold your diploma, and then you'll go to either CCA or to Pickens for free for another year. So you could finish up whatever the degree was at Pickens or at CCA if you haven't finished the degree yet. Pretty cool opportunities, believe me. So make your future happen, Everybody's got a separate path. That's what the ICAP is designed to do, is have yourself some goals and figure out how you're going to get to those goals. Okay? A lot of you are going to need training after high school to reach your career goal. Some of you don't know what your career goal is, so I would suggest doing college for this reason. What this is how much you earn on average with the degree you have. So here's somebody who drops out of high school. Right? The average pay for someone who drops out of high school, about $23,000 to $25,000 a year. Right? Somebody who graduates high school, their typical pay is about $30,000 a year. With even some college, that jumps up to almost 40, right? About 38 or so. With an associate's degree, a 2-year degree, like at CCA, you might get to 39 or so. With a 4-year degree, at a place like UNC or CU or CSU, places, Metro, places like that, look how much more you get paid. Right? About $53,000 or so a year on average. And so you can see the difference between a bachelor's degree and a high school graduate, right? It's almost double. And that's what I mean about college being a good investment. So even student loans are a good investment because, look how much more you get paid. I'm getting my master's, right? So yeah, I took out a bunch of loans, but look how much more I get paid for getting my master's. You see what I'm saying? So this is why you want to go to college, right? Because you want to be in this crowd, right? There's less unemployment. There's, more money to be had. It's an easier life. Generally speaking, the jobs are more intellectual and kind of easier on your body, which, I don't know. My dad he was in construction for a long time, and his knees were bad, his back was bad, so my knees and back are bad because of sports, not because of, being in construction. So, but, my bachelor's degree is, I'm really glad I went to college, and I'm going to college again for my master's degree. When I'm retired, I'll probably go back to college because it's so much fun. Okay, so let me show you now what you need to do in Naviance. Okay, so once you get into Naviance, this is what you see. You go to My Planner. You go to Tasks Assigned to Me, which will be purple right here when it loads. Hopefully it's not this slow for you guys. Then you go to Tasks Assigned to Me. Then you click on College Costs 10 and complete a survey. So the survey is going to be about what we just talked about, right? You need to complete the FAFSA, which has the cheapest tuition. Ooh, I mentioned that. What is it? Oh boy, what do you think it is? Which gives you more financial aid. That's a good one too, right? So those are the things that we just talked about. So make sure that when you have a question that you contact me. All you have to do is do the survey, though. You know, piece of cake, right? All right, guys. Well, thanks for taking a look inside our Naviance and talking about college costs. You know, and I hope that I answered as many questions as possible. When you have them, though, because they're always going to come up, make sure that you contact me. All right? By cell, by email, by texting, by something. All right? All right, everybody. Have a great month, and we will see you around class. All right, guys. Take care.